All right, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm just gonna talk about MGTOW and kind of where I left off with the MGTOW stuff. But first, we gotta address my most controversial sample ever in a video that I made. Now, this is from the Brother from Another Planet song. It's obviously titled after this movie that I got the samples from. So we'll check out the trailer because that's where I got the samples from the trailer, and then you can actually see where the samples came from.
It's Mars on the Hudson. It's Cheers Goes to Harlem.
Get you something to drink, brother?
It's E.T. Rides the Underground Railroad.
Want to see me make all the white people disappear?
125th Street next.
That was fantastic.
It's the brother.
Right, so it's a New York joke. Have you ever rode the 1 and 9? I think the ACE2 Uptown. All the white people get off at 96th Street, and then that's what it was saying. 110th Street, next stop. Want to see me make all the white people disappear, right? And it was a white guy saying it.
Street next.
That was fantastic.
Rides the Underground Railroad.
Want to see me make all the white people disappear?
125th Street next.
That guy was in a lot of movies too in the 80s. But yeah, that's where the sample came from. And it's like, I mean, E.T. Rides Underground Railroad is pretty funny too. Mars, what is it? Cheers on the Hudson. Mars on the Hudson. All right. Oh, E.T. Rides Underground Railroad. Yeah. Okay. We're also going to look at why Trump coin was not really a good type of cryptocurrency to invest in. Now, there's all different types of meme coins and cryptocurrency type coins, but the whole like pre-mining aspect of it, when it's not like something that you can mine, it's like a pre-mined thing like Trump coin is. So you can see he created 1 billion coins. He still holds 800 million of the coins, and they only released 200 million of the coins, right? So whenever Trump coin peaked at like $20 or whatever, I think it might have been like $25, then you can see, you know, if you had 800 million coins sitting there and it went up to $20 per coin, right? Then you would have like 1.6 billion or something, right? Which is just about how much he made, right? It's like 1.2 billion, 1.4 billion, right? Obviously, you can't sell all the coins. But then here's the second part of it is the staking. So instead of being able to mine it like a regular cryptocurrency where you just earn the coins through the computer doing the transaction or whatever, this proof of stake, you have to buy coins first. Right, you have to buy the coins first, and then you stake them, basically lock them in to the system in order to verify the system. So in order to like earn extra money off of, you know, the Trump coin, then you would have to stake your coins. I've done that with Ethereum before. It's kind of annoying because then you stake it and then it's locked in, and then you can't like take it out. You can eventually, but it's like it takes like a 7-day waiting period or something like that. I don't know how it works with Trump coin, but it's probably similar. So that in and of itself kind of is weird, because then it's like, you know, you got all these people buying Trump coin, and then some of them will stake it to the network to support the network. And then meanwhile, Trump's got, you know, 800 million of these coins that he basically printed for free, or however much it cost for his technicians to create the cryptocurrency, basically. That's the cost of these coins. Whatever he paid somebody to create the what's it called? Trump coin, whatever currency you want to call it. Which seems to me that it can be pretty easily created because they have like those websites where people make all of the like different types of coins, right? Where they can easily make a meme coin. It's pretty easy to make a meme coin, I think. Not, it definitely doesn't cost them $1.6 billion to make a meme coin. So, no, that's why I'm kind of like a Bitcoin maximalist, because Bitcoin's really like the only cryptocurrency or like popular cryptocurrency that doesn't have this like pre-mining problem where there's, I mean, obviously Satoshi did pre-mine coins, but he's never used any of the coins that were pre-mined ever. So you don't really have to worry about this type of thing happening where somebody printed up 10 billion coins and then eventually they're going to cash them all in and, you know, wipe out the system. All right. So let's talk about the MGTOW stuff then. So I think the first kind of important point is to think about like at the time in which I started making MGTOW videos, which was about 10 years ago, right? And I mean, at the time, right, it was like Barbarossa was like extremely popular, CS MGTOW, Paul Proteus, Big J Triple X, and even BGS had a MGTOW channel. It wasn't BGS, it was BGS. And he was like a MGTOW. Yeah, imagine that, right? But I guess I must have came like right in the middle of when it was like splitting up into like Immore and MGTOW and all these other different groups. Because there was a lot of disagreements about who is or was a MGTOW, right? And then there was the guys that were like, well, I'm MGTOW, but I'm dating women and doing this and that. And then there was the guys that were like, I don't date women at all. And then there were the guys that were like, well, as long as I'm not living with women. And some people were like, well, if you're paying women money, it's just really confusing, realistically, right? Because there was no like actual centralized like characteristic of what a person should be. It was just basically like, oh, you're not married, right? You're not married. You're not planning on getting married anytime soon, really. And basically the reason why is because the deal in the modern dating market or whatever was basically unfair in the sense that no fault divorce, well, we might not be able to get rid of no fault divorce. Hypothetically, no fault divorce is unfair to men who do nothing wrong, right? And especially like, say for instance, like you're like a finance bro and you've got, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars saved up or even millions maybe. And then you're calculating, well, now like all your other business deals are perfectly fine. Like you got everything, you got lawyers and you got this and that. But then when it comes to women, you're like, there's literally no protection of my assets that I worked for. On a whim of another human being, a woman, I might have to forfeit half of my assets for no other reason than she said so. And it's like, you can't really enter a contract like that where somebody can destroy you on a whim. And they don't have to have any substantial logical reason at all to do so, just based off their emotions, how they feel that day. You know, and most people wouldn't sign any other type of business contract like that, right? You wouldn't buy a car from someone and then they say, well, you know, if I feel like taking it back, I might just come by and take it back. And that's in the contract. You'd be like, I'm not buying a car from you. Buy a house. Oh, I'll sell you the house, but I might come back and live here if I feel like it. You'd be like, what? What do you mean if you feel like? What do you mean if you feel like it? No, there's supposed to be like contractual obligations where it's like, if I do this, then this happens, and if I don't do this, then that does or doesn't happen. Not I do this, and then if you feel like it. If you feel like it, then you do your part of the contract too. But if you don't, I still have to pay you, even if you feel like it. And that's like the basic gist of, I think, why people go MGTOW. Like, it's just like, it's a ridiculous deal. And then you start examining the other deals in society too. Some people, where it's like, okay, the like corporate job field isn't all that much better than women. I mean, it's a little bit better, but at least you can like have some type of contract. But realistically, people just analyzed a lot of data, what other people were saying, and came to the conclusion that, yeah, it's not just like an individual guy facing these problems. Like it was a systemic, you could say, or society-wide view that no matter what happens in the marriage, the wife could cheat on you. It's your fault because you didn't treat her good enough, right? Or she could do some other negative thing to you, take your money, try to have you set up for murder. I mean, there's all these types of things. I'm not saying guys don't do it too, but the difference is that when guys do it, they're held responsible. If a guy sets up his wife for assassination, he usually goes to jail, right? Like there's all those cases, like the case where the chick stabbed her boyfriend and then like, I guess, like completely destroyed his leg with a knife, and she got like a week probation or something like that, and then she was still accepted into medical school. It's like, obviously if a guy did that to his girlfriend, it would be like the end of his life. Like, oh, you were in the apartment and you stabbed your girlfriend multiple times and in the leg and arm and stuff like that with it, he'd be in jail immediately, right? So there's obviously these double standards or whatever, which are annoying. But then when you try to apply the double standards the other way, well, if you're going to do all this, then what about the masculine stuff that men used to do? And it's like, no, you can't do any of that stuff. So the deal in and of itself is just ridiculous, right? And then on top of it, you've got all these rich guys that are basically trying to price you out of the market by making this deal, right? Because if you're rich and then your wife takes half your money and you're like Bill Gates or whatever, and then you're like richer than you were before your wife divorced you somehow. Same with Jeff Bezos. His wife divorced him and then he got richer. It was almost like it was planned out. Like he gave her half the money and then he got twice as rich as he was before. So she still lost out somehow. But for regular guys, then it becomes like this soul crushing thing where, you know, you lose your house, you might lose your car, access to your kids. You have to like move out of the neighborhood that you've lived in for X amount of years, right? Your family doesn't respect you anymore because of the fact that everybody always thinks that it's the man's fault. Even if your wife cheats on you, it's still your fault somehow because you didn't rub her feet the right way, or you didn't put the toilet seat down. Like, come on, really? So your wife cheats on you and it's your fault because you didn't put the toilet seat down enough? Like, that's literally where people were going with this stuff before MGTOW got like big and people kind of understood what we were talking about. That's literally where people are like, oh, you're divorced? That must mean that you're a loser. And what did you do? Did you beat her, or were you a drug addict? It's like, no, actually, I went to work every day and came home and actually did the dishes and all this other stuff. And then it's like, well, you still did something wrong. But maybe you doing the dishes and coming home and doing everything that she wanted was the thing that you got to treat her a little bit, like you got to be a little mean to her. It's like, so which is it? We got to be mean to them, or we got to be nice to them? Because if we're nice to them, they dump us. If we're mean to them, they dump us. So it just seems like they're just going to dump you no matter what, right? It's the same thing. It's like, oh, well, you got to be this, you got to be that. And then it's like, oh, well, what about all these famous Hollywood celebrities getting divorced? It's like, oh, they are literally everything. They're rich, they're famous, they're buff, they're highly intelligent, they're getting divorced. So obviously there's something else to it. Just women just like getting divorced. That's just it. And then you want us to sign this stupid contract where they get to take half the stuff. And it's like, it's that simple. They just like getting divorced. They like getting married to guys and then they get divorced. They're like, I'm not feeling it anymore. Because it's like literally you cannot respond to that. And that's why they will never respond to that. They will never respond to that. Well, what about Arnold Schwarzenegger? Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger, he did cheat on his wife. But some of the other guys, like, they just got divorced for no reason. You know, like Robin Williams. I guess it's because he was sick. That's even worse. His wife divorced him because he was sick. That's not a good reason to divorce your husband. Take all his money that he needs to like get healthy or get some type of treatment. Ridiculous. And you can go through the list: rich, famous, successful, buff. I mean, Robin Williams wasn't buff, but he was rich, successful, and funny. So that's like one of the top things too, right? And then the trad cons are still coming at us like, oh man, and the PUAs, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. It's like, bro, man, like we're not gonna like out Chad like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like if it's happening to him and it's happening to everybody else, all these other famous people, Jim Carrey, you can just go through the list, like the famous people that have gotten divorced. Trump, look at Trump. He's rich, he's tall, he's intelligent, right? Successful. Well, like he's famous, he's rich, famous, tall, intelligent. He's like top rich guy. How many times has he been divorced? All right. So it's like, it seems like it's inevitable. Divorce is inevitable when you're in a relationship. Like it's more like it's a like amazing thing if you actually stay with the person for more than like 5 or 10 years. And or if you stay with the person for the entirety of the kids growing up to 18. Nowadays it's like, yeah, rich people are more likely to stay married, but they're still getting divorced. And if you're that rich, and let's say you're like a regular guy who really started out from the bottom, and then you're like finance bro, and then you pick up this chick and get married to her for like 2 years, she doesn't even have any kids with you, and then you got to give her half of your money. Like, really? I mean, can you really blame somebody for not wanting to do that? Can you really realistically say, oh, that's stupid, you gotta man up for the human race or for your race or whatever race, right? And just get in there and give her half your money and pray to God that she doesn't take half your money. No protection. And then when she does take half your money, we're going to tell you it's your fault, you suck, man up. And then you're like, yeah, like Bill Gates is the richest guy in the world and he can't avoid it. Jeff Bezos, richest guy in the world, he's buff, he's intelligent, he's pretty popular, he's got a rocket ship that goes to space, can't avoid divorce, right? And then these guys that get divorced, they act like it didn't happen. And they're just like, yeah, man, you know, I love women. It's like, bro, like you literally got your like life destroyed by a woman for no reason. And then you're like, yeah, but you just got to get back up there on that horse. It's like, no, but you got to realize if you're rich, right, then you can do that. But for most other guys, it's like messes up their whole life. That's why so many guys commit suicide after they get divorced, because they were like, that was their whole life. They're not like some rich guy that's like, oh, well, you know, whatever. Just, you know, 10 million over here, toss 10 million to the wife, and now she's living in this mansion and all. It's like, to some guys, that was all they had. And then she moves in the pool boy, and you're sitting there outside in the car. And then you're telling that guy, oh, you're a loser. You should have just did this. You should have just did that. And then that's why everyone started getting pissed. That's why so many people joined MGTOW. That's why so many people joined the Manosphere, because of these tradcons and some PUAs, not all of them, but some of them that just don't understand that regular guys have a difficulty picking up women and stuff like that. We're just like, oh, you guys are losers and this and that. And everybody wanted us to be incels, but it's not true, because that's the whole point of MGTOW, is that it's a bunch of guys that have a problem with the deal, because they could enter into the deal, but they don't want to because they have a problem with it because of all the stuff that I just laid out, right? And then the actual incels were just younger guys that came into the same system and were affected more by the inflation, hoflation, whatever, right? And actual inflation and the lack of jobs in the job market, right? You can look at like William Costello's interviews or his like statistics on incels, and it's like the most glaring thing about incels is they're all young, like usually in their 20s, like early to late 20s, and even some that are still in high school, and they don't have high paying jobs, and they still live at home with their parents. Oh wow, and they're not getting laid a lot. I wonder why. It's because they have mental problems and all these other things. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. Like, no disrespect to William Costello, he's a cool dude, but like, it's like, come on, bro. It's like, oh, I can't figure out why these guys can't get laid. They live at home. They're 20. They live at home. Women out earn men in the early 20s to like late 20s. They don't have mental problems. The economy sucks, and they can't get an apartment. They can't get a car, and so therefore they can't get a girlfriend. But guys can't just say, "Hey, look, women." Like, I'm not saying women are gold diggers, but women are gold diggers. Right. And that's what you got to say to men. And that's what the manosphere was able to say to men. And that's why the message became so attractive. Because we're like, look, it's that simple. Women want stuff. They want you to have a nice car and this and that, so they could basically use it and take it. And otherwise, they don't see any value in being with you. And all these other men live in this fantasy world where the woman's with them because their personality or because their job and I mean, I'm not saying that that's not part of it. But it's like, it's obvious that you could have the same personality and the same everything else, but if you don't have that money in the bank and you don't have the nice car, a lot of women are not going to be interested in you. And if people could just say that more honestly, it's not offensive, right? It's the same thing as saying, oh, guys like women with boobs. Oh, really? Oh, is that offensive? No. But if you could just tell guys this, frankly, instead of saying, oh, well, it's about this, and then that's why because you have this like double think about it being about all these other things, that's why when something goes wrong in the relationship, mainly the woman just leaves because on a whim, because she just isn't feeling it anymore. Then you have to make up all this stuff about what the man did wrong. You didn't rub her feet, you didn't do the dishes, or you did do, like, you see what I'm saying? And then people literally say, oh, maybe it was because you did do the dishes. And then she lost that masculine appeal for you because that's like a female thing. And people just keep making up different reasons. Anything other than women just like getting divorced. It seems clear 80% of divorces are initiated by women. You don't need to know what the reason is why. All you need to know is that it does happen, and women seem to like doing it. And then you add in the factor of people saving up all their assets and saving up all their stuff, right? Earning stuff, paying for stuff, and then having to give it away to the women that are basically unappreciative, especially at the point when they're divorcing you. They're usually highly unappreciative, right? And then people have been through that, and then they came online and started telling young men about some of the downsides of getting married, and then the tradcons went nuts. The tradcons and the wignats. You're lowering the birth rate, and you're anti-natalist. Yeah, but what about the guys? You're just going to destroy men, destroy men's lives, and lie to their face while you're doing it. Just lie to I love being married and divorced 5 times. Best experiences of my life. I don't get to see any of my kids. I got to pay out hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. It's great. Life could never be better, right? And they don't tell you about Bob down the street who's living in his car, with the pool boy living in the house, right, that he paid for. And now he's fired from his job because he doesn't have a house. And he's living in his car. You see what I'm saying? They don't tell you about that. And they don't want you to know about it. They don't want you to know. And it's wrong. Like, you can't just sell somebody on something and not tell them about any of the downsides. Pretend like and then when they say, hey, look, there's downsides, you ban the people that are telling them about downsides and say that those people are evil and they're wrong when they're not wrong. These are people that went through divorces and went through like hard breakups and long-term relationships and stuff like that. Some with multiple women, multiple times. Some people have kids, right? And that was like the funniest thing, right? When people would come in and call a guy that has like 3 kids an incel. It's like, you literally don't know what the word incel means. And that's why I was like, you could see that people just wanted MGTOW to be incels. Because they were like, oh, you guys can't get laid. You guys are incels. You guys, it's like, no, actually, it's like, I know it's a radically crazy idea, but somebody could just say, hey, you know what? It's not worth it. I've been with women. I've been with several women. And every time it's always the same thing. It's like they don't know what they want. They're like, oh, I want to get with you, and then you're like, okay, let's do that. And then they're like skittish. You're trying to call them. You already did it with them, and then you're like, can we meet up again? And they're like, oh, I don't know. Or you're in a relationship for like a long time, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like the person might have even genuinely liked you. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they start treating you like crap and switching up on you and doing a bunch of shady stuff and going around with other guys. Yeah. And what did you do? You went to work, came home, had a couple beers, watched some TV, right? Totally breaking the contract, right? Totally breaking the contract. And now you got to give up your whole life because she's not feeling it anymore, right? Yeah. And then guys will be like, oh, and that's the best part about it, man. When you get divorced, and then no, it's not. It's really not. Like again, if you're a rich guy and it's like you're not really investing much, it's like you just have money flowing to you and you can just provide for everybody. But for us regular people, it's like it was actual investment, right? It was an actual investment of your time, your money, your labor for a long, long time. And then it's like, oh, whoops, I decided not to do that actually. And then people are telling you, oh, it's your fault. It's totally your fault. You just didn't do enough, or you did too much of the wrong thing, or whatever people are going to make up. Right. So yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at with the MGTOW thing. As far as, what it's about, right? And then as far as like the whole like MGTOW schism, it's pretty obvious, right? When Barbarossa and Stardust came in and then they started doing the biological determinism stuff, basically originally MGTOW was like more of like a red pill thing, which in short, I'll just say red pill just means like you have some type of hope left, right? And then it divided up into like a red pill and black pill thing slowly over time I would say that it was based on the influences of the like incels, like, what's his name? Like, what was it? Face LMS, which obviously Steve Hoke is like the original guy that invented True Force Loneliness or whatever. But then when they turned it into incel, it was like, what was it? Wheat Waffles and Face LMS. And they definitely had an influence on the MGTOW thing. And with Stardust already being kind of like a biological determinist. And then they started going, it's over, cope. Right? Anybody that had any suggestion about anything that could possibly be like a positive change, either in society or in individual men's lives, and they would just come out and go, it's over, cope, you're coping. It's like, no, some people genuinely just don't, like, they did the relationship thing and they don't want to do it anymore. It's like annoying. It's like annoying having to like cater to someone else's whims all the time. It's tiring. Having to give up all your money to go on stupid trips or buy food and stuff that you don't even want to eat to make them happy. It's annoying. And then on top of it, you got to worry about them just switching it up on you. And you got to worry about them like switching it up on you, going left, bringing other dudes in the house, or causing some other type of conflict, or insulting you, starting to insult you, right? You're like, I don't want to deal with it, right? People cope, it's over. It's like, okay, maybe if you're like a guy and you're like 5'2", like, Grant, I'll give it to you. Maybe it's over, right? And that sucks. But for the average guy, it's not like, oh, like they could never imagine getting with a woman, right? And it's like, that's what all these PUAs are like, you're priced out of the market and blah. It's not real. It's just marketing. If you're an average dude, you can at least find some chick. Like, you might not get married, but I'm pretty sure you can find some chick that will actually like talk to you at least, right? I'm not saying she might not be a supermodel or anything like that, but then again, you know, who really is these days? But that's what I'm saying, right? And then, like, of course, you got the new societal standard, which is like the Elon Musk standard, which is just like only rich guys, no marriage, because like obviously he can see that getting married is stupid, because if he has to give up $500 billion to one woman because she's not, like, you see what I'm saying? He's not that stupid. He's definitely not that stupid. Where it's like Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos, they were both married, and then they like had to give up tons of money. Like their wives instantly became the richest women in the world after getting divorced. You see what I'm saying? And then people are like, why don't you want to get married? Get married. And if you tell guys that they don't want to get married, then you're trying to depopulate the planet. It's like there's 10 billion people. Who cares, right? That's what you'll say to us, right? You'll be like, oh, well, we want to get married and have kids. And they'll be like, oh, well, there's so many people. It doesn't matter if you die. And then we're like, okay, well, we're telling other guys not to get married. Oh, don't do that. It's depopulation. Shut up. Seriously. It's like, that's what people do. They just do both things. And then you're like, you can't do anything. Right? They're like, oh, if you do this, then it's bad. And if you do the other thing, it's bad. It's like, just stop it. Just stop it. It's like, what doesn't matter what I say. Guys can see how stupid it is. Like Elon Musk. That's why he's not married, because he can see how stupid it is to sign a contract. It's literally better for him to just pay out $500,000 a month than for him to sign a contract and then have to pay $500 billion in a lump sum to some woman, and then have her come online and start dissing. But that's what I'm saying. And it's like, all the trad cods, you can come at us all day. But the fact is that guys already see what's happening, and they're just going to keep dropping out. And you can't stop it. All right? You could try to pretend like your guys are getting your numbers up, but it's not true. The church is not growing. Sorry to break it to you, but if you look at the actual statistics, less and less people are becoming Christian every year. Right? And so if you want to limit marriage to only Christian people or whatever, you guys are going to lose. So anyway, that's mainly what I wanted to talk about, I think. So you can kind of get the gist of where I'm coming from at this point in time, that, you know, it doesn't really matter what I say. Guys are going to stop getting married. You can see it. And you can get mad about it or whatever. But you can also see the time in which I joined MGTOW. It was obviously not about race at the time. And then it just became about that for a multitude of reasons. And of course, you can see how kind of like split off into the red pill people and the black pill people, right? And the black pill people are just like, everything's cope, that's over, right? It's kind of boring. It's like, okay, wow, it's over. That's the whole video? Just, it's over. Cope. Don't you have anything intelligent to say? No. All right. That's the video. Thanks for watching if you did. Have a good day and peace.